Thank you, Mr. Slade.
Same.
It's the site.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, October 21st, 2025, and it is 6:07 as I call the meeting to order. So we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance first, and so any member of the military, former military member that might be willing to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't can see it. Kent, you want to lead us? Oh, yeah. All right, yeah, we're forcing him on. Get together. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, declaration of conflicts of interest. By the way, I was at a meeting today, in St. George, where there was a conflict of interest, and we spent 45 minutes discussing the conflict of interest. I was about to tear my hair out. So anyway, here it is on our agenda. So April, do you have a conflict of interest with anything on this agenda today? No. Yeah. Paul?
No.
Jean? No. Misty? No. Valerie? No. Well. Next thing, Crystal. You know, I did not do what I said I would do. The consent agenda. I did not get to, what minutes was it that I did not get to?
June 11th, June 17th, both of them, June, July.
And then all the
9th,
Julys, and then all the Julys, okay.
So you got May 14th.
I got the 2 days.
And then the first June 3rd.
Okay.
Do we want to approve just those?
Just those. Yes, on the consent agenda would be approval of the first 3 minutes that are listed here and not any of the rest. I did not get to them like I told Crystal I would.
So the one on 6/17 was just the fireworks.
That's that special meeting.
That's a special meeting.
On that one.
Okay, then we can approve that one too. We can go with that.
Okay.
What was June 11th?
No, June 11th was the work meeting, June 17th was the regular meeting.
And the special.
We had a special meeting on June 3rd, so that we had a lot of meetings in June, because we had the budget meetings.
Yes, okay. Okay. We'll take the June 3rd, the June 17th special meeting is okay. All right, so someone make a motion.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes from May 14th, 2025, May 20th, 2025, June 3rd, 2025, and June 17th, 2025.
The special meeting, there were 2 meetings that they produced.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. You guys? Yes. That isn't my phone, is it?
No.
My phone sounds like that. All right, Darlene is going to present the findings of the planning commission.
Good evening. Did everyone receive my report?
Yes.
Okay, we did have several items on public hearing. We had the K zone change. Which we moved on to the town council with recommendation to approve and, comments in public hearing are towards the back of the summary and the public hearing part, and I put them in blue. And I've made it clear what the commission's recommendation was at the request of the town council for the last time. We are going to retable the open space revisions because we decided it was best to have another public hearing on that. I made an error here in the motion. The ordinance on chapter 16, that it was a motion to approve and it did pass. So that should have said sent to town council with recommendation to approve.
Wait a minute, go back on that. Which ordinance did you?
An ordinance amending Bergen Municipal Code Title 16, Chapter 16. It's the third item. Oh, okay. I apologize for that. Okay. And I have a brief summary of additional points made by the commissioners on those before the vote. And then the village overlay, we had some discussion, but we have to properly notify all affected owners because the overlay is effectively a zone change. So there's no decision on that. And then the two-family dwelling, this is the one written by Commissioner Spenlove. We sent to the town council with the recommendation to deny. There's the main points of the reasoning are listed there. And the last item in our regular meeting was the ordinance that the town council sent to us about an untimely action by the planning commission was considered a recommendation for denial or not a recommendation. And that was sent with a recommendation to approve. Then the public hearing, we had, once again, most of those ordinances, and I apologize also, I don't care what formatting I did for the public hearing comments on the second item. It just wouldn't go to the column, it just gave me that little row, so I apologize for that. That's why this is so long, this one. And we also had, the two-family, we had the first hearing on the two-family dwelling, but we had already discussed it extensively, so that's why, Commissioner Spenlow really wanted to vote on that, so we went ahead and did that. And, we left the hearing on unplugged open. And the reasons, that our zoning administrator was unable to attend, and that per our code, information we got as a report and recommendation from the zoning administrator and DRC, a lot of the mandated items were not present. So we left it open so the developer or the applicant would not have to pay any additional fees. And yet we could get a complete information before making a decision. So that is moved to November. And then at the bottom, I put all of our pending ordinances that we have sent to you. And I think I've got them all. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? All right, if you read and you do, just reach out.
Okay. Okay, before moving on to open forum and council comments, Mr. Kate Roberts from Planning Commission. From Washington County, Washington County is here to talk to us about Sheep Ridge Road, and you were going to be here last month, but couldn't be here.
Yes.
And Leslie Fonger went ahead and came, and she talked a little bit, you might duplicate what she said,
Okay,
but that's okay, we wanted to hear from you.
okay, great, yeah.
Do you mind repeating your name too?
Kate Roberts, yeah.
Thank you.
And just to clarify, I am not with the county,
Oh, sorry.
but no, it's okay. I probably wasn't clear.
Yes,
I'm hired by the county as their engineer for this roadway.
got it.
Okay, and I hear there's lots of questions. I promise I'll get to them, and don't be too mean. And I grew up in Ivans, I know it's on the wrong side of town, but I do understand some of the local stuff here too, it's been kind of my backyard, so this is an interesting one.
You're with Rosenberg, right?
Nope,
Nope.
mainline engineering.
Mainline engineering.
Yep, there's a whole 5 of us in the office,
Okay.
so just a small group right in, close to the mall in St. George.
Oh,
We do mostly transportation projects. And, we work a lot with the county and with the Utah Department of Transportation. This road, obviously, as you guys know, connects between SR 59, which is on the south end on that map, and SR 9 on the north end, what runs directly through your town. And these 2 routes are heavily used, especially SR 9 to get to Zion. So I'm not preaching to the choir here, I'm not trying to, you guys see the traffic issues on SR 9. This road is not to alleviate those issues, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you look at it. This project came to be because there is a major safety issue associated with the 2 highways. They don't connect, except for down into Hurricane. There's no emergency relief except for the Sheep Bridge gravel road. So the county applied for funding to pave that road. What they didn't expect was, and I should back up, the road is not owned by the county at the moment. The road is owned by the BLM, however, the county maintains it because of its excessive use. And you've seen the signs out there that talk about that, I think. The road itself is definitely a mountainous gravel road, as you guys have experienced. It goes down through one major wash and serpentines through that area. For the most part, the design speed on that road is about 15 to 20 miles per hour as it sits now. So it should be slow. It should be not, it should be slow, but it's not. As, I was out there doing some survey the other day and yeah, I had to get out of the way a few times. Sheep Bridge is owned almost entirely by BLM. There is 3, parcels of the road, and you can't quite see on this sheet. Let's go to sheet 2. Actually, yeah, you can kind of see the different colors there. Down on the very bottom, there's a piece owned, there's a little tiny piece owned by a property owner, and then the 2 pieces, there's a pink piece and a light blue piece that are owned by the same owners, but they're different parcels.
And this purple is owned by somebody else down here in the very bottom, on the very left, that.
Right, that little green piece down there on the very bottom. Now, this is hard to see without the map behind it, doesn't mean a whole lot, but can you see that Sheep Bridge Road? Right there, you can see the existing road.
Yeah.
That's down through the wash, so this is very localized, it's not very long. Can we go back to sheet 1? Yeah. I didn't realize,
The main one?
yeah, the main one, yeah.
Or that one?
That one. You can see the full length of the road here. That private piece is right in the middle. For the most part, in fact, I will say this, for all of BLM land, the road is staying as far as where it's located now. There are some minor corrections, some safety corrections, because gravel roads just aren't the safest. They don't have the super elevations that are needed for traffic not to fly off the road. The road is being designed to be a maximum of 35 miles per hour. So fairly slow, but people still go fast. And I want to say understand that concern because I don't live out here, but I've seen it, and I'm not going to say it doesn't happen. 59 is actually the worst road in the state that is. This is a side note as far as high speed versus low speed, where people are going 150 miles an hour, it feels like, and other people are going 30. It's causing all sorts of problems. Sheep Bridge is not, it is, if you go from Virgin to Hurricane, It's still the longest route, so it will be about a quarter mile longer than taking SR nine into Hurricane. So we don't expect the use to be increased. However, the full purpose of this is to provide safety access and also to eliminate the mess that's out there, the dust bowl that's happening out there. So BLM is not part of this, but in parallel to this, they are cleaning up the camping areas out there and the trash, and they want to establish designated camping areas and limit use out there so that the area can stay more natural rather than just get plowed with four-wheelers and all sorts of ATVs. So they're doing that at the same time, and this road would eliminate a lot of the dust issues that cause environmental concerns out there. So I should back up again and mention that to obtain the property on a Title V from the BLM, a full environmental assessment has to be done, and that's where the current project is. The current project is going through what's called an EA, environmental assessment, where they're surveying the whole corridor and determining species and implications of the road. Right now, putting an asphalt road helps a lot of species because the air quality is poor right around the road. With that said, you guys still have traffic. Maybe it's not about the species for some of you, but the idea is that this becomes a safer area to travel rather than a dirt free for all. And the county can better maintain it rather than just bring gravel out every year and try to grade it and keep it maintained. There'll be some drainage improvements, but overall, the overall width of the right of way that the county is looking to obtain is 100 feet. That's not a 100-foot road. 100-foot road. The road is almost just as wide as the gravel road that's out there now. The whole idea is try to get the asphalt to almost match up with that as it is right now.
When you
So,
say 100-foot roadway, that's 50 feet on each side.
yep, 50 feet from center line to center line. That allows for future utilities through the area, if so desired. The county really has nothing to do with that. However, if there needs to be a loop in the water system up here, that right of way can be used. So it is all environmentally cleared for that. However, the only disturbed areas are where they're going to put cut ditches in next to the road to help with drainage, and also any cuts to help with some slope runoff and things. Other than that, they're trying to avoid as much dirt work as possible.
What's the current width of the gravel road?
What's what?
The current width of the gravel road? I know
So,
it varies, but.
It
but
does, yeah.
Approximately.
So I would say the narrowest is 22 feet. The widest, you're looking at 32 feet. So, the current asphalt or the current plan for asphalt width is 28 feet. Total, yeah. So that's two 12-foot lanes, which is a standard travel lane on any road. Even local roads should be 12-foot lanes. And then allows for a little bit of a shoulder, 2-foot shoulder. Leslie was here talking about a path. She has a plan to put a path in. There is no money behind that path yet. There is federal funds associated with this project. Her project is in the future. However, they are doing necessary things with this project to prepare for that if it ever happens. For example, undercrossings. There will be an undercrossing at the parking lot where the gem trail crosses. And that will allow for bikers to stay off the road so they can go under the road instead of over it. Create a little safer situation there. There's also further crossings that Leslie probably presented last time when she was here.
Three.
Three total, yeah, so one right at the parking lot and then one at the beginning and one at the end. And I didn't want to bring construction drawings because those are not finalized, not even close. You have to get through that environmental assessment with the BLM because there may be a archaeological site. There may be a protected, milk fetch area that we need to stay away from. They could potentially change the geometry. Right now, we're pretty safe, assuming that the geometry of the road's gonna stay right where it's at, because it's all disturbed, it's a road.
So are you able to do anything on this environmental assessment right now while everything is shut down?
With,
Because I know we can't get a meeting with the.
oh, no, you're right, no, absolutely, right now, we're drafting that's on our end, we draft the environmental
Okay,
assessment.
I just want to make sure you weren't dependent.
But talking to Jason West, they can't do anything
Exactly.
until it all opens up. So timeline, is that what?
So the EAA, will that cover the whole 100 feet? Or,
Yes.
so when they add a path alongside it, it doesn't need a new EAA?
Yes,
It will.
that's a great question. The hope is that that path can be within that 100 feet. However, if they have to go outside that 100 feet, that's not cleared by the EA, they will have to do a revow, for sure. That happens quite often.
So if they're really concerned about safety, they need to put the path in now, I think.
Which Leslie's doing a great job at getting funding for that. I think she's getting the funding for the crossings. And that we'll know that in November. She's been very successful. She has the path that's going all the way to Zion, Falls SR9. I'm sure you've heard about that.
Yeah, we know.
And she put together a lot of that, because funding is becoming more and more available through the state. She's on top of it.
And I understand that you want the trail now, but what he said is we don't have any funding for the trail, the funding is for the paving of the road.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's right,
But
on the,
from the very beginning, when they first talked about funding, they were going to put in a path.
yeah. The path,
But they are putting in water and electrical lines,
No.
is what she told us.
nope,
No,
but there will be a place within that right of way that you can put water and electrical,
okay.
if so desired in the
utility.
future, yeah. There will be a place for, it's an easement
Okay.
for utility companies to put in their utilities.
So is that where the path would go?
Typically, we don't like to put the path on top of the utilities, however, a lot of times that path is safer away from the road. And we can sneak those utilities between the two,
Got it,
but also you have the whole other side of the road.
right.
So it's depending on your planning commission and how things pan out legally. A lot of times you separate your water and your sewer, if there is, so desired, on either side. So yeah, there's gonna be plenty of room for both, all of it.
So the environmental assessment, so you guys are gonna be able to work on environmental assessment, even though federal government shut down right now. And you can't do
Yes.
anything with the BLM, but you can still work on the environmental assessment.
Yeah, we hope to have that done in 3 weeks, the actual document. But then we hope to submit it.
Okay.
And I don't know,
So is this
That's
gonna be
happening.
done, is this gonna be done by the June 7th?
No.
No, so we're gonna have.
I think Commissioner Alquist would like it
Bridge
done.
Road when it's not even paved yet.
Or they can go
They
there.
already do that.
Well, I know
anyway.
they,
Yeah.
They do that anyway,
but
right?
they're gonna have a lot more set that way.
I don't think.
Are you talking tunnels?
Yes, when the tunnel.
Yeah, the tunnels are closed. That is the hope of the commission to have it open by then, but it's all being, when you deal with environmental documents, you're at the mercy of the federal government. And that's just a process, and it's a good process, like, it's not a, dotting your i's and crossing your t's has to happen, you know, and you can't skip that, but sometimes it does take longer and it's more frustrating than it needs to be, especially when the government shut down.
Okay.
I did talk to Jason West, however. And because they are super worried about this area, they have interest in it, he said this is our #1 priority as soon as it's submitted. Whether that means a month review or 3 months, I don't know. He would not commit to that.
Any idea of when all of this is done and the construction begins, how long it would take to finish?
Yeah, that's a good question. You guys probably experienced the Tokerville bypass. It's not that. It's not that. Okay? This road is not a highway. This road is designed and the money is limited. So, they are doing the actual pavement design right now, Landmark is for us. How we are looking at very cost-effective, quick ways to create base with what's out there. For example, concrete treated base. So we basically rip up the existing road, we treat it with a cement and put it back down and compact it. And it's hard as a rock, and then we pave them on the top. So those are the kind of things we're looking at, we're not looking at 10 inches of base, 12 inches of granular bar below and just major excavation, it's just not that. This is a rural road. We don't anticipate it to become a highway, ever. I'm saying that to you. It would have to be, this is a good way to know it's not a highway, look at the curves. It can't be a highway based on the curves. The curves are designed for 35 miles an hour. If anyone wanted to make it faster, they'd have to completely rip up the whole road. So that shows you the intentions of the county. County does not want this more than a safe way to get to Zion outside of SR 9. If emergency requires it, and also keep the dust and tourism at bay, so that tourists aren't parking all over the wilderness out there.
So I think I heard you say that you don't expect any increase really in volume.
Well, I didn't say that, I don't know, that's a good question. You guys put asphalt down, and my experience is that people will use it.
You said it was quarter-mile long,
It's a quarter mile longer, but
but time-wise, it's a lot quicker.
Yeah.
I was curious about that,
So,
cause
yeah, so people are gonna be using it, it's just gonna be the.
Well, if they direct all the RV traffic there, that's gonna be increased traffic.
It's what Google's gonna tell them to go.
Exactly.
well, and I had to sit down with UDOT, I know those UDOT folks pretty well. And I was like, hey, what do we need to do, because if we put asphalt down, does this become a major thoroughfare? And they're like, well, we don't want it to be, we want SR 9 to be that. And I said, well, what about turn lanes, right? You know, we have issues coming on and off of 59. And even their experts modeled it, they're like, you know, it's technically, in their mind, it's 6s on travel time. But it is also more windy. If you take out the Laverne and twist. But it's more windy and up and down, it's a rural road than a highway, and so they don't anticipate it being a Google route. For example, Tocqueville bypass. If you're coming from Vegas, it's actually faster to go through Tocqueville bypass to Zion. However, does it route you that way? No.
It's starting to switch,
It's starting to switch.
Yeah.
So,
because I have it on mine, and I do it on Apple, it comes up on Apple, it's the faster way.
does it?
Yeah,
Well, that's good to know for UDOT, because
and
they were
from our,
helping out.
and from our experience with Pocketville Road and some other roads here, that Google and Apple will direct them to the fastest route, irrespective of.
Yeah, you're not wrong. There is no guarantees about
Right.
level, I'd lie to you if I came up here and said, oh, the traffic's gonna be the same, I wouldn't expect that if I lived here, I think I would use it.
Do you know if the county would be open to, in the future, some traffic calming devices to mitigate it?
Absolutely, they don't necessarily, like I said, have you guys had Todd ever, he's gonna come with me next time, he had commission meeting, he's the public works director. They don't want this to be a speed zone. There could be some natural things. Here's another natural thing. When I'm designing the vertical of this roadway, there's a lot of curves vertically that just don't meet anything more than the 35-mile-an-hour road.
Yeah, curbs are a natural way to
calm it.
traffic, yeah.
But there could be some trees, there's lots of ways to do it. Medians, calm,
Yeah, ball outs,
fold outs,
Yeah.
Yeah, those are all things that we've used, like Moab, we've done that quite a bit. Boulder's a great example for that. They've done all sorts of things. Moab's an example, because they came, I don't know if you've heard Moab, they've wanted to bypass forever. The state highway goes right through the town, right, where you have people and trucks. And there's just a conflict there, so there's some natural ways, trees, bike paths, medians. And if you can get, that's all through UDOT, this is all through, fortunately, this, even though it'll be county owned, this is within your guys' city limits. So it's the same thing as like where St. George is considering traffic calming on Sunset. if you're on that side of town.
It's within our city limits, but county took over the jurisdiction as well.
Now the road, yeah, yep, but that means you guys still have say of what happens with
In the little bit.
in the traffic calming area, yeah.
So do you have any, design for the landscaping along the sides of the road? Because when they did the first section between the bridge and SR nine, they just excavated it out and didn't ever put any seeding back down.
They didn't do seeding?
Nothing, nothing.
So our seeding method is kind of unique, and don't laugh, you guys. So what we do is we remove the top 4 to 6 inches of dirt that we're going to excavate below. We put it in windrows to the side. So that's topsoil, that's sagebrush, that's everything that's gonna be disturbed. We put it to the side in windrows. We disturb underneath it, we do our cuts, do our fills, do whatever, and then we pull that stuff back up like a blanket. Now I get it, it's broken up. We track it into the dirt. Then we seed over the top of it. What we're finding, we got this from Kayenta, I don't know if you know what Kayenta is. So they do it with their vegetation around their roads and their houses. And what we're finding is that vegetation, if we don't remove the vegetation, we just put in windrows and then we track it into the dirt, it actually grows quicker, along with the seeding schedule that we have, which matches the natural vegetation out there.
That's what they said they were going to do on that.
And they didn't do it. Well, and they just did that, right? How long ago?
It's been a while.
Did they miss, I just wondered if they missed the seeding, there's a season for the seeding.
Well, they did it last Thanksgiving time.
Oh, and they got time, yeah, the seeding season's like right now. Did they remove the topsoil and remove and put it back?
They just excavated it out, put the asphalt and ran like.
Okay,
Fast as it is. Okay.
yeah,
So I'm gonna take questions from the audience.
Again.
Whoever's here that has a question you guys would like to ask Kate, we'll let you guys ask your questions.
The one thing I think that we're all concerned about, like you notice, they go fast, they're gonna go faster, there's no police. Nobody.
Yeah.
Is in there, does the county provide any plans for that, because once it opens up, they're gonna get that.
no, that has actually been talked about. When you first put a road in, people are still a little nuanced to it, they kind of do travel slow, it's year one. When they really start ramping up, they're used to it, they know all the curves and things. So they're planning on, they haven't actually made physical plan to work that I've seen, but they're talking about some form along there. Just 59 is the same thing, but that's highway patrol, and they've got bigger vision track.
Yeah.
The county has a little bit more resources so they can use that with that.
Yeah, I think that's,
I think the county itself will worry about that.
yeah, when you think about the people that are camping and
Yeah.
little kids and their animals running around and, you know, when little kids on bikes and I just haven't heard any plans to mitigate
Yeah.
safety for any of that, so that's a huge concern.
Yeah, safety, that's,
But I don't think, this is just for paving of it. All
No,
of
I
you guys-
understand that, but he talks to them all the time.
Okay.
So, my goal is that
Yeah,
you can
absolutely.
share back with
Yeah.
them that I think we're on here because we watch it, and I'm happy to send them videos, I'm happy to send them whatever.
no, and I think I don't think that they don't know either,
Okay,
cause that's been talked about.
okay.
Not the commissioner, but just the engineers, just the guys that are, we're talking about signs, what signs do we put out there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And we're down into like the
yeah.
nuts and bolts of what a new road needs to look like.
Right, so if you guys could help with them understand our serious safety concerns.
Oh. I should mention on the north end, you have the Nature Conservancy
Yeah.
property.
Yeah.
That is reduced to 25 miles an hour, so all over.
Oh, okay, there's a huge sign there.
Yeah.
Just after you cross, just to the north of Sheep Bridge, just after you cross Sheep Bridge. And people will cross Sheep Bridge,
And then-
hit the pavement and then gone.
Oh, they go up
Like-
60 miles an hour.
I wanna give you an example, I walked it 3 days in a row,
I believe it.
okay?
I had to jump out of the way because they weren't paying attention.
Yeah.
So I walked against traffic like you're supposed to, and finally these two people looked up like, oh, they were coming right for me, so I had to jump out that way. Okay, 9 cars in a row, 45 to 50 miles an hour,
I think,
45 to 50.
and I think,
Okay.
I think that's what that law enforcement
Okay.
really got.
Mark has a question and then Darlene.
Okay, I have a quick question. Well, Zion's talking about diverting large RVs onto to this road or through the road.
Right,
And have you had any communication?
Yeah.
Has anyone thought about the volume of large RVs we're gonna have going through there? And if that in fact is the case, they're gonna try to stop them from going through the tunnel. Where are they gonna go? They're gonna go down that road.
We all know they're exactly going on Sheep Ridge Road. That's been the plan all
That's the
along.
plan, yeah.
That's the plan.
that
I've
is one of
attended
the reasons
meetings.
that
That's the plan.
yeah,
And that's,
Yeah, so I mean, our concern obviously is, of course, there's gonna be more traffic.
Okay.
And so, it's just if you can communicate
absolutely.
our concerns.
I think that's really important, though. We're, and part of the BLM's concern is the pedestrian, I think someone already mentioned this, who mentioned this? Pedestrian vehicle interaction.
Yeah.
How many pedestrians are out there? And they're crossing, right? They're bikes crossing. So if they're gonna put in 3 crossings, that doesn't mean people are gonna use those 3 crossings. They're gonna put a bike path, that doesn't mean people are gonna stay on the bike path. So the idea is keep the speed low, 35, I get it, it's still asphalt. You can go 100 miles an hour and that's, right? It doesn't say that.
Okay, so Darlene has a question and I'm gonna allow 10 more minutes and then we're done with this whole topic.
And I'm free, if you wanna give them my email, I would love to
You
communicate
can
this
even
on.
stand outside and answer.
I'm not-
Hey. You can even stand outside after we're done in 10 minutes. You guys can all go outside and ask questions too. Okay, Darlene, your question.
So, in the seeding process you described,
Yes,
because I am dealing with this in my property, because somebody came in and excavated a lot and had an invasive plant on
On their
their
truck,
vehicles. And so I want to know what, because this is all sensitive lands, including
Yep.
a preserve. What precautions are you going to take to keep those invasives from getting us whole?
now you're talking my,
Including, making sure your vehicles are bringing it in.
yeah, no, this is really good. So we have a lot of specifications that the contractor has to abide by. One specific specs is called noxious weeds. And that has a whole page on how to clean your vehicle. So we have to inspect every vehicle that comes in. This is on every one of these type of projects that are in sensitive lands where it's undisturbed. But UDOT's just adopted it and now everyone's starting to adopt it. So there's a few things. Besides washing, they have to do an inspection. They have, you've noticed it probably, these little grates or sometimes cobbles or sometimes just big giant metal bollards that they drive over to knock off material as they go to and from. That's another way they do it. So they put all these safety aspects in order to keep noxious weeds from other job sites from coming on here.
And what follow-up do you do in the next spring season when all these things are blooming?
Yeah.
To make sure that that's successful.
So that's a good question. We haven't seen a lot of issues as long as the trucks are clean. That's the big one. Absolutely the biggest one. We haven't seen a lot of noxious weeds come into job sites if we're using that spec. So there hasn't been a lot of follow-up, to be honest with you. We haven't seen a major rise in noxious weeds.
So if there is an issue,
Yeah,
who do we?
you call the county. The county would come and spray it the second. We do that all the time with UDOT projects too. You see the sunflowers in the UDOT, some of them right away. That was a noxious weed, but people started to love it. For a long time,
Tumbleweed and there's this one that's a relative of tumbleweed, that's really bad.
not like creosote or anything.
No, that's.
Yeah, that's normal.
Okay, so
Sorry, is that too long?
yes, sorry.
Sorry.
Any other questions from people in the audience?
We have an estimated timeline when you might think the improvements will begin and be completed?
Well, again, it comes down to that environmental assessment. I'm hoping to start as soon as January, when we heard. That was what, August timeframe to finish? So, but that's very optimistic at this point with the government shutdown.
Okay, yeah, right, that's delayed things. Yes, Ken?
Any types of vehicles been restricted?
No type of restricted vehicles. The actual pavement section will be designed for your typical semi truck. It won't be designed for interstate loading, meaning we can't have that amount of vehicles or we only have a certain amount of vehicles on the road before it just blows up.
Okay.
But that's how all roads
So
are.
you won't have weight limits?
Not weight limits, it's called easels.
Okay.
It's the amount of weight, how many times.
Okay.
Don't think of it that way at all. It's basically the frequency of weight. That's the best way to explain it.
Chuck had a question.
Quick question, you said they're not gonna add turn-ins on this, right?
Not yet.
I think that's very dangerous. I think that you take it back to the county, the commissioner, let them know, if they're sending RVs back
Yeah,
around the park, there's no turn lane on that road. There's a small little cut, and you can't have an RV sitting there waiting to pass for 5 minutes blocking the lane. People are gonna pass on the shoulder, then slam to the back.
so the county has made the same request to UDOT. The federal funds, unfortunately, are just to pave the road. And of course, there's always limits to how you use the money, right? If they were to use the federal funds to put in a turn lane, they'd lose the federal funds, they'd have to pay for it. So the county is coming to the UDOT to say, we'll help pay for them. We can't pay for all of them. This is your guys, this is your interstate, or your highways. And the conversation started. I just don't think it's gonna be part of the project. It will probably happen within a certain time after, so. I always say that because here's probably my revealing truth. I actually came from UDOT. I used to work for UDOT for a number of years. And I know how they work. And we made certain requests. And it's just a matter of putting the road in and it's gonna trigger it. Right now, they will say, no, we're not doing it, but they will, they have to.
Okay, we have 5 more minutes. It's been 5 minutes since I said 10 minutes.
Pretty
5
efficient.
minutes left.
I was pretty efficient.
You did? So, I think, okay, Keith,
Is there any thought to what you do around the entrance to Falls Park? So it's a
Yeah.
turn and
Yeah,
it's about people, anyone going in and out.
it's the Nature Conservancy owns all that right there. And, they don't want us to disturb a thing, right? And I get that. But they are relaxing, we wanna remove that. There, because it's a cut, it cuts in and it leaves this big rock feature. I would say layered rock feature as you go in. We want to lower that so you can see cars. So we won't remove all of it, but bring it down to where you can see over it.
okay, so, I think Paul had something you wanted to ask or say.
Yes, I'd like your email address.
Yeah, so it's K Roberts,
K-A-Y.
no, just K,
Just K.
just K. K Roberts at mainline-eng.com.
What was the last one?
Main-
ENG?
Yeah, ENG,
For
yeah,
an engineer.
yeah. And I have to say this, I have to go. So
Oh,
that's why I can't stick around.
You
But-
can't stick
but-
around us.
but- Send give them my email.
Okay,
I will take all these comments
okay,
to the county and I'll get some responses.
okay.
And I'll probably bring the county back with the design, so you guys can look at everything like signs, curbs, actually paint on the road and see exactly how it's gonna look.
So approximately when would we, plan for that to happen?
So I have the design done pending approval of the BLM. So that could happen as soon as 6 weeks,
Okay, so maybe our November, or December meeting.
if they open the federal government again, yes. Yes.
We'll see.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
I appreciate your time, right, hopefully that wasn't too controversial, I get it. Love that. Have a good night.
Okay, thank you, Katie. Okay, Elizabeth. All right, we've got 2 things before we get on to the public hearing. Open forum, anybody in the audience have anything you would like to talk about that is not on the agenda?
Yes,
Yes, okay, Skip.
just a couple items. Skip boys and all, better gardens. I'm thinking about these storms that we had a week or so ago, big storms. I hope you remember those.
I don't think we can forget.
Okay, so what's going on with that culvert right out in front of my house? Brett and I paid to have an overflow constructed, and it works. The culvert could not handle the water. It went up over the back of the culvert and down the rock gully that we created. So that's a good thing. One of the problems that I saw though on coming home after those storms is that we had probably a 8 to 12 inch high berm of sand out in that circle that everybody goes down through, to turn up Rulon Road. And so I have been out there shoveling that stuff out of the road. And, probably not very good this last time, because it was a lot of dirt, probably about 4 or 5 wheelbarrows full. That I got out of there, and it's so muddy, and I just didn't have the energy to go and sweep the whole road. So I'm wondering if we could get a little help down there after big storms.
Yes.
You do have a road broom, I think I saw.
No, I wouldn't call it a road crew.
Oh, yeah.
Broom.
We're just talking about a piece of wood. No, it's,
will not work.
what?
It'll have to be dug out just the way he did it.
By
But
hand,
they
we don't
don't
have a
have
skid
a
steer,
dump
skid
truck,
steer
right?
can't get down.
Yeah, so we have a sweeper,
Yes,
Yeah,
that's what he's talking about.
and that will just pick up the initial labor.
Yes, I'm asking, what about the skid steer? Can't the skid
Yes.
steer get down there and do it?
Yes.
Okay, so we do have people that can come and do that.
Yes.
Yes.
But that's not, yes.
Yeah, it's already in tandem with public.
Okay.
We're, to the extent that we have resources, we are aware of it. and
right. Well, I'm willing to go back out there and keep doing a little cleaning, but it's getting to the point where, obviously I'm not gonna do it every time that it happens.
All you have to do is call our public works and let them know
Okay,
that it needs to be done.
all right, do that. I was wondering about progress on the read, is that going to be finished?
He does not have a deadline. Labrie does not have a deadline by which he needs to finish the next 3 things that he has, approved. He's got, what are called lots, he got a subdivision. And there's 3 more lots, the gas station was 1, and then.
There's only 10 parcels.
No, there's 4 parcels, there were 4 parcels. One's a gas station, one's a restaurant, one's a store, and then one's the short-term rental, so there's 4.
So we don't,
That was a mistake.
we just don't know when it'll be finished?
Well, that's just subject to market conditions.
Yeah.
When things.
He said it's subject to market conditions as to when he gets things built and the cost of materials and all of that.
Okay,
So
well,
no, there's no deadline.
part of the problem that I'm seeing down at the bottom is still stuff coming off of his project. Plus, both streets, I mean, we have a whole block that funnels right into that one,
Which culvert?
right in front of my house.
It is the southeastern corner of the subdivision, it's a figure 8, it's a southeastern.
Yeah. So the water from Labrie gets
get-
over and then down
We
that
get
road.
debris that shoots down that street. All the way down the street past Frank's house, past Mark's house.
Yeah, I understand the stuff comes down down that road, Rulon, isn't that Rulon Road?
Yeah.
Both.
Yes, I understand that road.
1420 west and.
I understand, both come like this, where is the water coming from Labrie? Down
It comes out in the parking lot.
down 1420,
Yes,
okay, that's what I wanted to know.
sure.
So, since our town engineer is sitting here in the audience tonight, he will be making notes of all this. And our public works assistant is over here too, and they'll be making notes of all of the stuff that you need done. That's those two right there.
The other issue though too is when it's hot and dry and windy, then he doesn't do anything about dust control on that property.
Okay.
Not right now, but in the wind blows when it's dry.
Okay, so there's still a few issues with that, I think one of the other things, the engine sign, brake noise for off the road coming down Sheep Bridge Road, I didn't bring that up tonight, but that will be an issue coming down that hill to Sheep Bridge from the south. And we have the big rigs coming from Zion, that's gonna be an awfully noisy hill, and I was wondering if anybody's thinking about that signage.
Yes, we bought some Jake brake signs, after we passed the Jake brake ordinance, and, we could not use those signs because we were going to put them on Highway 9. And UDOT said, no, we cannot use the signs that we bought, we have to use UDOT's signs, which are in progress. So we have two signs that we can use elsewhere in town, and the plan is Sheep Bridge Road for one of them.
Okay, thank you. And one last thing is, over the past week, there were several functions going on, the senior games, the Red Bull thing. And I found online, it's really difficult to find out who is where and when. I went to the town website and I can't find any reference to what functions are going on. Now, I was wondering if it's possible that if you guys find out, if it could be in the town letter or on the website, so that we know who is doing what, where, and when.
We got a new website that went live about 10 days ago, and there is a section on there where we will be listing the notes.
Okay.
That's actually a great idea. For the citizens to know.
On the front,
What activities are going on.
on the main page of the website, there's a link for town events. There's a section called, not so, I have to look at the website to see exactly what the little chart is called, but it's on the front page and it has a link to all the different types of events. There's a link to town events.
Yeah.
And not just town events, but local events.
I checked that out and I didn't see anything.
No, because we haven't put it on there yet. We just went live 10 days ago. And I did not put Red Bull on there. Red Bull was taking place right as we were going on. We had not put it on.
But I don't see, I'm on the site now, I don't see where.
Go down, you're up at the top, go down, further down.
County issues. Oh, okay.
There it is, at the bottom.
Okay,
There's
I'll take
four
another
charts,
look.
there's 4 charts across the bottom.
Yes.
all right, it would help us prepare when we're having stuff out there on Sheep Bridge Road.
Absolutely. Sometimes they don't tell us, like, I did not know about the Huntsman Games until I was driving down the highway and I saw a sign and I had to pull off to read the sign and see what it was. I didn't know anything about it until I saw the sign.
Right.
Frog Hollow's coming up,
Yes.
so be prepared,
I'm
on
ready.
Sheep's Bridge Road.
Yes,
Oh,
that's a big one, that's the 20.
Well, I'm telling you now, you
All right, that's all.
don't know.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Mark,
Very quick question.
yes,
Last meeting I attended, I asked you about potentially putting a flashing speed limit sign you had in Desert Gardens for a long time down on Sheep Bridge to alert people to what the real speed limit is there. And you didn't seem to think there was a problem with doing that, and then I don't think anything ever became of it.
okay. I will follow up with our guys. I'm not sure where that flashing sign is.
It's over by, somewhere by now.
Is it on?
No,
Highfield?
it just got moved today, I believe, or it's getting moved
Two?
on your street.
No, I didn't ask for that.
No, but we got somebody else that did, because,
There's always speeding in that neighborhood. There just always is.
there was almost an accident, that someone almost got hit because of the speed limit on Entrada, and there's no speed limit signs.
Okay, a couple of.
When it gets done there, then the Sheep Bridge is the next.
Was this accident almost caused because of Red Bull?
No, this was after Red Bull,
Yeah, but they're still here.
yeah.
You'll tell me later who it was, and I'll go talk to them and find out more details, because it could have been just caused by Red Bull. In which case we could get this, we only have one flashing signal
one, and then we were gonna buy another one, it's like $10,000-12,000 for one of those signs.
These are short term.
Perhaps the county should provide it on Sheep Bridge because there's.
If you guys haven't noticed, the sheriff's department has been patrolling extra on Sheets Bridge Road, I hope you guys have all seen that, I know I have. I hope you guys have.
They also go into Falls Park once in a while now.
Well, they've been patrolling extra since the last meeting, because I made a phone call.
Okay, so any other comments for open forum? Yeah, you guys.
You're probably really ahead of me on this, because you've done a really good job so far. Someday, I think, and I've talked with you about, Pocketville Road. Last night in the dark, as I was coming home late, a car was tailgating me, I thought he was connected to my bumper. And just got over as soon as I could to turn onto Pocketville, hoping he would get on past me. He was turning onto Pocketville. Car coming south, or west, excuse me. Lights from Zion. I had plenty of time and knew I could turn, and so I turned onto Pocketville. The car behind me decided he was gonna turn onto Pocketville, and he didn't have enough time. And he had to pull over in the lane and be next to me side by side as we turned. It's a really, as what happened today over by the restaurant, the accident that occurred there.
There was an accident today?
I don't know the details, but there was a motorcycle accident. It's pretty gory, there's quite a bit of blood there on the road
Today?
today. Motorcycle, and I don't know what really happened, but as my wife drove past, going into St. George, he was laying on the road with people there. And that's the other point, I think, in our town, where we have real crises of speeding and narrowness in businesses and turns that need to make sure we look at the speeds that we drive through town, and we need to look at Pocketville. So
But
he
there's a
followed,
turn lane at Pocketville Road.
yeah, and he
But
was
this
behind me
guy-
in the turn lane. But then he decided he had, because when I turned, he saw the lights and he had already started to turn and he was in a big hurry. I said California license plate, local, I'm sure. Driving up Pocketville, and so going over the speed bumps, Paul's favorite subject. He didn't like the speed that I was taking the speed bumps, so he was once again, I couldn't see his lights because he was connected to my bumper. And at the second speed bump, I decided to stop on top of the speed bump, and a moment of road rage occurred as I got out and I was happy. And
Be careful doing that, Ken.
yeah, well, that's what my wife, I've already done that.
Yeah.
So, again, Pocketville, we hope that you'll keep a focus on, the options that you may have in the future of keeping us safe and speeds and stop signs, et cetera. Thanks for what you've done so far. Yeah, we had some nice storms, and one was an electrical storm that was just, I was outside on the porch enjoying the rain, and I don't think I've ever had a lightning strike closer than it did to me, and it really made me jolted. Later that day, the next day, Diane and I were outside fortunately. Working in the yard, and I noticed smoke over in Sierra Bella.
That tree.
And lightning had struck an old dead tree on one of the lots in Sierra Bella. And had smoldered for a long time before it started to show. I got over there, Diane called the fire department and they got up there really quickly and took care of it. My last comment about that is you've done a good job of keeping people with developed, well, not developed, but developed lots, they can develop lots from having noxious weeds, and I think with this rain, we're gonna have a great spring with that kind of stuff. But we also need to make sure that things like these old dead cottonwoods, that are standing and other shrubs, like you did this year with the crew that came and helped along the wash. We need to clear that up for fire, danger and protect people who have homes. And, when things get hot and dry and windy. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Okay, there's no more comments. Oh, there is, okay.
I'll be quick. I'll be quick. This is Carol Boyce from Old Desert Garden. Because it's all fresh in your mind about the culvert down in front of our house. It's just to heads up that, I don't know if this is the right place to bring this up or if it's planning and zoning still. But with that Blackmore lot that's on the other side, that's the personality, that's who engineered Desert Garden. And so if they're gonna engineer something over in that lot for multi-unit housing, and it's already awash and it feeds into previously designed drainage by the same people who did our drainage, that maybe you wanna really consider that as something you wanna look at and be aware of if this moves further.
Multi-family housing is not allowed in town. No zone allows multi-family housing at this time.
Okay, so that's.
And we
That's
are
another
aware, we are aware about the, that piece of property.
Okay, well, I just wanted to.
Okay.
It never hurts to,
Never just ask.
yeah,
Yeah.
And that's why I'm letting you know that we know.
Thank you, but never mind.
It helps, you're not the first one that was mentioned that, so
Yeah.
you're plenty.
But we've been gone.
Okay, so, council comments, anybody on the council have any comments?
I do.
Okay.
Do I go first? No, go ahead. So, it's been brought to my attention that there's a rumor going around town about me, and I just wanted to say, the rumor, I guess is saying that I operate an illegal short-term rental. I do not have a short-term rental, I do not have a long-term rental. I never have, I don't intend to. So I just publicly wanted to say, not me, and I don't know how that rumor got started, because I can see if I had different cars in my driveway, or there was advertisements on the, internet, there is not. I haven't even had house guests for 3 years. So, I just wanna put that rumor to rest. I do not have any kind of rental whatsoever. And it's a little disturbing to me, because I hate to think that somebody started this from a malicious place, so, but it's not true. That's it.
Misty?
My question, my thing was adding to building on the Ken and somebody else talked about speed. I thought for a while, because there was, on the street over 100, there was no, speed limit sign until you got down to my house. And they recently put one in, which is very nice. I think it has helped with the traffic on that road not go so fast. But I'd like to see the Public Works do a review of the town for, correct signage. Like mostly speeding, because that seems to be 90% of our problem, which also builds, I want local traffic signs to go up where needed. And if they drove around town and looked, they could see, also not a through road. I'd like to see that go up. I just feel like these little tiny things help, because like I don't know, most new cars, it tells you what the speed is off of the sign. Or even our cute little neighbors that live out a couple blocks over from us, they've even slowed down, I noticed, because that sign was at the top. then by the time they get to the bottom of that hill, there's another sign. So that's just the thing that I was hoping we could do, and then there's one more thing, it's short. It's short, yeah, I never made it count.
I don't know.
The noxious weeds, did we put into the weed grant again?
No.
There's a weed grant through the county that we can do, this is also public works. There's a grant through the county that we can do, it's a weed grant, Monica's familiar with it. Cause it was back in our day, so it was back when you and I were in there.
Yep.
And so that weed grant, it's a yearly thing. You can go and keep renewing it. That's how we got the giant sprayer on the back of the side by side. We're spraying weeds, but they also gave us, a particular spray to get noxious weeds out.
Okay, didn't we go through Del Rubler for that?
I cannot remember. I'd have to go, it's,
Okay,
I'll tell you, I think I know where it came from.
Okay, so just for information for all our town residents and the town council. Now that we have a town manager, all of these things are going to get handed over. Just letting you know. So that in the future, things like this can either be reported either directly to Public Works or to the town manager. So hopefully we will get this, streamlined, yes, that's the word, thank you. You know, better process in place and have it all streamlined.
Well, and Mark was sitting right there as the public works assistant. So
Okay, Paul, do you have anything for council?
Yeah, so thank you both, Mayor and Misty, because one of the items I was gonna do is send a request over to the town manager. Because I did get a request from a member of Desert Gardens, and it was related to wanting a sign as you come into Desert Gardens, because there's nothing that tells the people that go into Desert Gardens what the speed limit is. So I was gonna send an email to Mark.
So this goes along
But
here.
you mentioned it, but I will send the email to Mark anyway to indicate that. So, and that person's not here right now.
Did you use the word no public access?
we have a sign that says,
This is not a through,
It's not a through street.
But I think sometimes a little difference in wording just kind of, it adds, it's like adding sparkles to something, it just draws the attention.
The residents' concern was,
I think it was
there's
not.
nothing that says what the speed limit is, even though by state law, they should know what it is. You get so many people from other states, it's nice to have that sign.
That sign and one that says no public access even going into the subdivision.
And thank you, Misty, for helping me with the bus situation. I haven't heard any more reports of it speeding through Desert Gardens.
Why can't they have public access?
Into Desert Garden.
Well, no,
Say no
no,
public access.
well, locals would,
Public
locals would know that it's not.
No, I think it says no outlet.
It's all public roads.
Yeah, we can't identify a public street as.
We can say there's no outlet,
It's
but
not
we can't say
outlet.
no
It's not
public
through
access. It's a public road.
Then it needs to be stronger wording. The stronger wording is what I, sorry, Paul, I took over your comment.
No, that's all right. There are certain words that you can use.
Yes, okay, I told you have it.
Oh, I'm not done.
Oh, you're not done.
That was one item, that just came up tonight. The other one, skip phrase, which is, the dust control. I didn't realize there was an issue coming out of the breeze, but I was at a fire board meeting a number of times where I have, council people from Springdale and Rockville talk about our dust bowl that we have coming through here. So we should really start looking at a dust control ordinance and probably move that up on our agenda more, so we can start to.
That's interesting, that comment, I thought to myself, we don't have a dust control ordinance.
There's some,
And it's
some
been
written
proposed for.
There's some in other words, sorry.
I was just gonna say, someone has proposed, we have not had one drafted. But, it has been proposed a number of times.
It's been proposed a number of times, and I just put it on my list, to work for Mark to try to get that done.
excavation permit would help too.
We already have that drafted and is about to go to planning commission.
Or I should work with, our city engineer on the dust control. That's what I should work with.
There you go.
So there's an election coming up soon, and I'd like everyone to get out and vote.
Done.
Check them on all stuff.
Okay, well, I will just make this one comment that I've been to 3 meetings recently involving post office. And I just found out today from the mayor of Leeds, who was able to save their post office, which was about to get closed. And what he did to save his post office, which is something in all the work that we've been putting with me in Springdale and Rockville about trying to save post offices, et cetera, for this canyon. What he told me today was something no one has ever said we needed to do. Yes. So I have, I'm not gonna say what it is, it's just something I got a data point that is like, oh, this might work. So I'm still working on a post office.
And Bill's pretty sharp, so
Yeah,
thank him for giving us that.
yeah, I just found out today what he's gonna do after because he's not running for reelection.
Oh, he's not?
No.
That's too bad, that's gonna be a loss to Leeds and a loss to our fire board. He's been the chair of the fire board. It's been fabulous.
So, yeah, he's not running for reelection, but I'll tell you after the meeting what he told us, so keep doing. Okay, so finally, this has been an hour and 20 minutes. And we're just now getting to the public hearing.
It was a good hour.
Very good, hour and 20 minutes, okay, as long as you guys all think so, yep. Okay, so next is the public hearing on adopting the joint agency regional water conservation plan. So we need to go to public hearing and see if there's any public comment.
Motion to close the open meeting. The public, no, wait, we're still in the public meeting.
Yeah.
Motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor? Yes. Okay. All right, so the members of the public that are still here, does anyone have any comment about the town adopting the joint agency regional water conservation plan? And I will explain one thing before I take any comment, if anyone has any comment. But, the state requires every municipality to adopt a water conservation plan. And I believe the due date is this December, at the end of this year. And what the Water Conservancy District did is they went to the Division of Drinking Water, I think it was the Division of Drinking Water, or DEQ, and said since all the towns pretty much in Washington County are now part of the regional water supply agreement, if the Water Conservancy District, we would all end up adopting the water conservation plan from the Water Conservancy District, because they have to have a water conservation plan too. So therefore,
The regional water supply agreement, we have to follow them.
we have to follow what they do. So therefore, would we just create a joint water conservation plan for Washington County and everybody adopt it and we have satisfied the state requirement? And the state said yes, and so far we're the only county that is doing this. And so otherwise, every town has to hire an engineer to do a water conservation plan for them. So that's what this is. This is the water conservation plan that we need to adopt to meet state requirements by December 31st, although they want us to adopt this by October 31st. So any public comment? No, all right, so we can now close the public hearing.
So, do I count as public?
No. We're gonna vote on the resolution.
I move that we close, there can be discussion.
I just want to.
I move that we close the public hearing and return to public.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, April, what's your comment?
So they have a comprehensive table of regulatory measures. And it's under water use regulations.
What page is
I'm
that?
not sure what page it is,
Okay.
because I am, but it's under the headline water use regulations, and it says prohibition on the waste of water, and all jurisdictions have ordinances or water service policies that prohibit the waste of water. Here's my question, do we have that?
I don't believe that we do have such
Our
a,
landscaping standards and
we
stuff
do
like
have that.
which.
So that says whatever waste concerns that, and then, it says about this system regulations, and so it says they're only allowed to be operated in certain seasons and conditions, so is that? We don't have anything to that?
Yes, we adopted that. With the water, we've had several resolutions, several things we've adopted by the water conservation, by the Water Conservancy District. Now that we are part of the regional water supply agreement, we have to put into place the different programs and policies that they have. And that's one, we've adopted it already, about the water listing system.
And then the requirement to repair leaks, that was just another one, I wasn't sure if we had specific policies on that. All jurisdictions have policies allowing penalties or termination of water service for failure to address significant ground leaks. So we have that,
We
already had that before.
we have that
before, yeah.
Probably not, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there is, I was thinking that on this new website that we're gonna have to set aside, put a page on there that's just related to water and list all the different policies that we've been, and with links to them, all different policies we have to adopt pursuant to the regional water supply agreement.
The other one thing is the development standards, there's a section on that, and they list a lot of different things that they've adopted. But they didn't say anything about water park in this development strategy, like these large water parks. I mean, they talk about car wash efficiency, golf course, or now water, blah, 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 they didn't say. I thought that was interesting that they didn't address these large water parks.
I can ask, because we have a meeting next week with the Water Conservancy District, I can ask about that. But I thought we had already had, a resolution that we adopted that prohibited any further water parks in the county.
I thought so too.
I thought we already, after that
The
one,
county did?
yeah,
Okay.
I thought they did that
I haven't
already
seen it.
after that, project.
Jellystone, yeah. Then they have the wait for, so, see, there's a couple, all right. Interesting comment.
We should go through this with a fine tooth comb to make sure what we do not have, do have and do not have.
Yeah, that they're
We
really
need to
trying,
have.
yeah.
Okay, any further discussion before we vote on the resolution adopting the joint agency regional water conservation plan? Before we vote on, I'm gonna go back to what you were talking about, April. We'll go back over that, the list that we have. We'll go back over and make sure, I know we adopted some of those, already, as we said, but we'll go through.
Yes, throughout this document, they refer to ordinance that the towns
Should have, right,
customer type should have these certain ordinances.
and we'll go through all that.
Okay.
Okay. In fact, I'm probably gonna assign that to you. To come up with a spreadsheet listing all the things on there and where have we adopted them or not.
I can do that.
Okay, all right. So, otherwise, if there's no further discussion, let's vote on adopting the resolution R 2025J. That's what Crystal told me was going to be, is J.
I move that we adopt resolution R2025-J, a resolution of the town of Virgin adopting the joint agency regional water conservation plan.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, well, you know what, I'll do a roll call vote just because I have on here that we're going to. No, so Misty,
Yes.
Paul,
Aye.
April, Valerie,
Yes.
and me, yes, okay. All right. Next is the ordinance reducing the mayor's compensation from $1,200 a month to $600 a month. Now that we have, a town manager, what's this ordinance number going to be, Crystal? Do you know? Offhand?
16.
I'm sorry,
16.
16? Okay. And we had on the next page that, on page 2, in section 2, it said the aforementioned would be effective October 1st, 2025. And we're gonna make that December 1st. And I did tell, Mark last week that I woke up the other day and for the first time in probably a year, I felt completely relaxed because we have a town manager and stuff I needed to do that needed to be done. All this was going through my head, all the stuff needed to be done, and I was like, town manager can handle that, town manager can handle that, town manager can handle that. I'm like, oh, I'm so relaxed. I was so happy. So I called Mark and told him, oh, you have no idea how I felt. So
I thought you meant this Mark, because he was so concerned about
Yeah.
losing your pay.
yeah, no, he's Mark, our town manager's name is Mark.
Gotcha.
Okay, so, any further discussion on this, because we had a public hearing last month.
So the only thing I would say is that, is it clear that that's $600 per month? I know in the whereas it says, the 1P3 whereas the current monthly expense. But then down at the bottom where it says compensation, it just says 600.
You're right, it doesn't say, of course, I took that out of, the code, we would have to look at the municipal code. 3.06.030, does it say monthly there in that code
And
section?
it is a modification to a table. The table has mayor, council members, planning commission chair, planning commission members. And it says at the beginning, the monthly compensation of the elected officers shall be as follows. So
Oh,
monthly.
so it's in the actual ordinance. I mean, in the town code, it says, the compensation for elected officials is monthly. Okay. All right. So. If there's no further discussion, I need a motion.
What resolution?
It's ordinance 16, 2025-16.
Motion to approve ordinance 2025-16, an ordinance of the town of Virgin, providing that the new Virgin municipal code be amended by revising section 3.06.030 entitled compensation of said code, providing that the compensation of the elected mayor of the town be revised.
And that includes with amendment to section 2.
With the amendment to section 2 that says that it will be effective December 1st, 2025.
Right. We'll take a roll call. We're not actually spending, well, I guess we are spending money, even though we're reducing it, not increasing it.
It's on how it's been.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
It's on how it's.
How it's been.
So, yes.
okay. I will start with Valerie.
Yes.
Misty,
Yes.
me, yes, Paul,
Aye.
and April.
I
Okay.
need a little break.
Oh, okay, to take a quick break and then we'll get back to the next item on the agenda.
Thinking of break, I want to say you earned way more than 1,200, but 600.
But I've worked more than that, well, thank you so much.
You're making it out big.
Thank you.
Who seconded that motion?
This.
Okay, thanks.
I was gonna say, this
Sorry.
motion is a sheet was not.
Yes.
So Darlene, be sure you're here for number 5 on the agenda. I have a question I wanted to ask you. Yes, ma'am. Okay. I wasn't sure if you were gonna be needing to leave really soon.
I set everything up for that.
Okay. Okay, so we're on item number 3, and if that was ordinance number 16, this will be ordinance number 17. Okay, so item number 3 is an ordinance to rezone parcel V-2-1-22-3-1, all 3 ones, from rural residential to commercial. And we had a discussion about this, last week at our work meeting. And we got the town attorney's input on this, and we're gonna vote on it. I talked with Chuck a little bit. I said at the work meeting that I would, talk to Chuck. I talked to Chuck a little bit, outside before the meeting got started. And, he answered the questions that I had. So I am ready to, move forward with this.
Do you want to share with that vote?
I asked him about the, easement that they are taking against the back, the northern part of the parcel, which is 70 feet. 70-foot easement, 70 feet wide,
So there's an egress.
so it would be a private road. And then-
Everything would be coming off of 150. All, that's where it would have to come into any kind of project they prepare. They can't put in a new driveway.
Who can't put in a new driveway?
We can hire a scope, they want, there's an existing access, which is 150 west, then that's where the traffic has to come out.
In order to access this parcel,
In order to access that.
that parcel.
And we may split it into 3 parcels. 3 1-acre parcels, so they'd be small businesses, and that would be the only way that you could access the sellers parcels separately. So there'd be a private access on the north side.
So no 9 access, it's all 150.
It's all 150.
Yeah,
It's
remember, you can't,
You want.
no, we understand that from a road, it's 1,000 feet before you can have.
Right, I was just taking all that, getting it in a nutshell, so it was.
And then he said that there is going to be an engineered retaining wall put in, against, on the north side.
So that satisfies the neighbor.
Yes, I spoke to him after last month, that's one thing. He's actually a family friend of ours, he's gonna work with me in my house. I mean, we did not communicate with him, we failed to communicate with him before they started working. We're not doing the work, we're actually letting the excavator that wants to buy or do work. I didn't communicate with Graves, used and used. And I spoke to him after the meeting. All his concerns were negative, so we're not at odds, we just did not communicate with him. And that's why he didn't, I didn't expect to see the meeting.
Are you talking about the public hearing the planning commission had?
Graves is the one.
Or are you talking about the meeting, from last month or the meeting from last week?
There was no public hearing last week, last month. He didn't come for the public meeting last week, he didn't come for this meeting, so.
So it was a month ago that you talked to them.
Yes, right after. the meeting.
Okay.
So there is a guarantee that there'll be an engineered retaining wall there, because it seems, I went and looked, it's a hazardous situation for both. Your land and neighbor's land, there's left.
They're already looking at it. The dirt isn't moved yet because the project that the person wants to get the fill, their project is in delayed, so that's why the dirt has not been moved yet.
I'm talking about the steepness of that vertical slope.
It's pretty rocky, it would be, we just went through those 2 big rainstorms, and I know we're inspected it again, I don't know if you look at it. It's pretty rocky, so the chances of it sloughing off are pretty.
What do you think? I don't know.
I was gonna say, the chances of sloughing off would be reduced if there's a retaining wall.
There will be.
If there's no retaining wall, I'd say the chances are pretty high that it would slough off.
Yeah, so my concern at the table would be simply, what is that, if it's a private road, how does the town interact with this landowner to assure that a proper retaining wall is in fact constructed? That's out of bounds for me.
It is in the sense that we don't regulate retaining walls on private property. We do within the rights of way, within our roads and our road right of way, and we have a spec fact for retaining walls. So I don't know when we do get involved with what kind of retaining that there is for the property.
So the city would have no liability if something happens and that starts sloughing off and having just the property owner.
That's a decision between 2 property owners.
I was gonna say the
Right,
issue
correct.
between the 2 property owners.
So that wouldn't be ever a city road.
If they wanted to ever dedicate that as a public alleyway or street access, they'd have to bring it up to compliance with our standards, and there's the possibility that retaining wall will need to be redone. So my hope would be obviously that Chuck and the property owner would discuss and look at what the city's or the town's spec is for the retaining wall and build it to those specs so that it leaves that option available at a later date.
Because a lot of those other properties behind there might want to use that as an access as well, and it may be that they would want that to be a dedicated city road at some point.
Absolutely.
Okay,
One other point that I can make. Chuck, is the project that the excavator going to utilize, the soil on here in Virgin?
I don't have details on it. It's Vince, I can tell you that's what it is.
it's been what?
Vince.
Black.
Oh, okay. So you assume he's going to be using it for project here in town?
She wants to fill in the wash over by the corner across from the bridge, so that.
No, I think
it's
it's-
three historic Sierra medium project.
He's using some of the rocks to rip wrap up.
Right, here we go.
There's
There's a project going on up there.
Chuck, you nodded at me when I was, you'll take note of that. And possibly, I'm not enforcing or telling you to, but you'll,
That's why we
Yeah,
like
have
the
your
70
engineer
foot
look at the
easement there, so that.
And the town standards.
with the town standards, so they can,
Eventually, if the town would want, we wanna put housing up the west side of the wash like we did
Yes, we
behind this, and I've spoken to you about that. So this would be a second access for that, everything would come off 150 west, and that piece that's to the west of the old town lot, Phoenix lot. That was left there, so that your road directly across the street from the existing road. So we do
The
have,
one, yeah, the one to the west of that lot, yes.
yes,
That
that
was
would be
always expected
and
to be.
the one,
correct, but this would be a second access,
right,
an egress out of that through new houses there.
So you-
Otherwise, we have to go all the way to the top of the top road and cutting, which we're gonna, we plan on that too. It's all about
and,
planning.
well, and like you'll put it, that's all I was asking about was the retaining wall along there, so if we do.
We look at
If you ever
city
do deed it over, want us to control it, it will be up to the standard, so it doesn't have to be rebuilt for you.
Yes, and I'm glad that you used that.
Okay, perfect.
So what is that little section to the west?
Between Mimi's and the.
Yes, yeah.
That's the wash, and I wouldn't look at that too, and maybe that ties in front of Mimi's, that's gonna have the engineering too, somehow. So,
So that does not belong to either parcel.
we own that, we also.
You still own that, but
Yeah.
the other one, the parcel.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion on this, parcel? No? Okay. Then I need a motion on this item number 3 here. Do we have a number, number 17? If we just, the one before was number 16.
I move that we approve ordinance 2025-17, amending Virgin Town's official zoning map by rezoning parcel V -2-1-22 -3111 from rural residential zone to commercial zone.
Second,
Okay, Valerie,
Yes.
Misty,
yes,
Jean, yes, Paul,
That's my vote. This may be the closest item that I would say to me would be commercial. My only hesitancy is you don't have the transition zone in place yet. And I think this would be a good one for the village overlay. So consistent with all my previous votes, until we get the village overlay, to protect the neighborhoods. And it's more than just that one house, there's other neighbors up there. I'm gonna vote no. If we had the village overlay, my vote would have probably been yes, but we don't have that in this yet. So no.
Abel,
Yes.
okay. Misty was an aye, Paul was a no, April was a yes, Valerie, a yes, July, yes. Okay, next item on the agenda, so we do not have a development agreement, correct?
No,
Okay, all right, so I will, hopefully we'll have it by next month and we will have it on the agenda next month.
I'm with that table, item number 4, development agreement, till November 16th.
I'll second. All in favor?
Yes.
Okay, number 5, this is the ordinance, promulgating, planning commission serves makes timely recommendation be considered as a negative recommendation. And, I had actually proposed this ordinance quite some time ago. And it all started, this all came about probably 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I had an ordinance that I had sent to planning commission. And, the planning commission, one of the planning commissioners said, let's just throw this ordinance in the trash, we don't want to even vote on it. And I was like, well, you have to do something, and I came across this code. And so they didn't do anything. And they kept not even putting it on the agenda, nothing happened. And so then I used this state code, 109A 302, section 4. No, that's not it. Did not say that. I typed up this ordinance, I did not say, I do not remember saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the 6th. Whereas, I don't believe that is what I said.
The codes are different on the after adoption versus in the whereases. Are they different? No. There's
Hold on, this is, I did not write that whereas.
Yeah, but I don't think it's not inaccurate, because some of the sections are unclear and others required by ordinance.
Oh, yes, that is true.
Yeah.
That's what this means, okay. At 109A 6022B. That is not referred to in the actual ordinance after adoption. What is 109A 6022B? What exactly does that code say?
Just one second.
Okay. 109A 6022B.
A legislative body may consider the planning commission's failure to make a timely recommendation as a negative recommendation if the legislative body has provided for that consideration by ordinance.
Okay, then what does 109A 5022C say?
To C, a legislative body may consider a planning commission's failure to make a timely recommendation as a negative recommendation if the legislative body has provided for that consideration by ordinance.
Okay, so then 109A 302 4. 109A 6022.
3024.
Yes.
A legislative body may consider a planning commission's failure to make timely recommendation as a negative recommendation. Now,
And it doesn't say by ordinance. So what is 109A 602? What is that code section?
it is That is in the subdivision.
Just 602, that's in subdivision ordinance? Okay, that's why I didn't have that referred to in here, so we're gonna have to amend page 2 to add. And
They're in different settings. So one is just a general land use ordinance is referring to that, and that's 502. 602 is referring to it's a land use ordinance, but it's also the land use ordinance that is the
subdivision, okay,
I see what you're considering.
okay. So I was like,
So we need to remove that.
no, we need to add.
Oh, add it down below.
Down below.
It's got it
Add
inside.
down below.
Yeah, I would,
Yes, yes, that first line,
Second.
after
the
adoption.
second,
needs to
first
add
paragraph,
that.
yeah.
Okay, so, the reason I wanted you to stay, Darlene, is there was something that, Lee had wanted added to this, and I don't remember exactly where it was, and I figured you would.
Safety on, that was, as a commission, we felt that it would be nice if we had a process to, ask for an extension.
Yes, that's what, okay, so,
Can I address that?
huh, yeah,
Can I address that? Because I think that goes partly to what Tom LaCosse was kind of arguing, that he wanted the words may change to shall. If I recall reading the minutes correctly that he prepared. But when I looked at this is not automatic on our part.
what's not on that?
If it goes 4 months or 2 months, we gotta take it back, so the may applies. And you don't need that extension, because unless we recall it, it's gonna continue on the same time.
That's true.
So it's only when we wanna
And
bring
that's
it
why the
back.
May is there.
And then at that point, if there needs to be an extension, we can talk to you, Lee, and say, yes, no, we disagree, we agree. So I don't know, if we.
I think I understand what you're basically saying is just because we say, that timely means no more than 2 months, it doesn't mean that in 2 months we are automatically going to say we're taking this back. We can.
Yeah, I think we're concerned about the ones that you tasked us to create versus the ones.
Oh,
that you
okay,
said
so
to
you're
us.
talking about A.
But that's also
Hey,
a May.
but that's also a may.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Okay,
So
That
then,
would be my
then there
interpretation.
wouldn't be 2 months, it would just be whatever.
But anytime after 2 months.
Right.
Yeah. Okay,
Unless he disagrees with the way I'm interpreting this.
Otherwise stated in the referral.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the point being is that if we want, if we want to give them more time,
we can do so in the referral.
Or then 2 months, we just don't ask for it.
Well, we're talking about, the one where they have 4 months.
Like saying it 4 months.
more than 2 months from the date of the referral.
Unless otherwise stated in the referral.
These were, we had talked about May and, I suggested that we have just the fixed time periods and that's why we split and staggered it for 2 different types, because one is gonna take more time. Because we're giving them the concept but not the actual ordinance. The other one is where we handle the actual ordinance. My point is, if we wanted to give them more time, either we need to state that in the referral or we need to put what Lee has suggested.
You know, when I look at the beginning part, it says, the town council may consider planning commission's failure to make a timely recommendation on the proposed land use regulation as a negative recommendation and place an item on the town council agenda requires affirmative action of the town council.
Sorry, I was only looking at.
Yeah.
They define timely.
And then,
You're right.
so that's where,
You're saying within that, the reference to May, that's not, it's discretionary, it's not
Discretionary.
mandatory on the council's part. And implied in that is that we don't have to,
We're not gonna be rigid with that 2 months
We-
and that.
well, we can if we want.
If we want to.
Something that was timely, like one where our pending ordinance was going to lapse, if it didn't get done. Then that's what we do, and the planning commission was not coming to a consensus and recommending it, that's when we can probably should impose it, even if they ask for an extension.
And this did, and when we did that 2 years ago, I'm almost certain it's 2 years ago, it could have been 3, but I think it was 2 years ago. Where we then voted, the town council voted to pull that ordinance and put it on the agenda. So. Okay. So, this would be ordinance 2025-18.
and then so it's eyes in each section, so it doesn't matter how we did the format, but I'm hoping we can go back to the old formatting.
Yes, I already told you,
Good.
we will go back to the old, we'll go back to that.
But in this case, it's all new. Well, you're going, that just messes with me.
Yeah.
I look for adoption of ordinance 2025-18. And the Article 16, Chapter 4, Section 2-I to allow town council to consider planning conditions. They repeat the timing recommendation as a negative recommendation, and it's actually adding a new section 2I, if I read before and after correctly. With the following amendment that in section 16.04.02, parens I, parens, after 10-9A-502, parens 2, parens 2, parens C, parens C, we add and 10-9A-602, parens 2, parens B, parens is added.
I'll second that.
I got all
You
the.
did?
You got all the-
It takes a lawyer.
Okay.
I'm practicing already.
All right, so April seconded, all in favor? Yes. Yes. Aye. Okay. All right, next is item number 6. And this is an ordinance for 2-family dwellings, and it's not necessarily tabling this ordinance, it is, we're gonna wait until the other ordinances that address 2-family homes, which is the village overlay. Village commercial overlay or village residential, I wanna address them all at the same time, I don't wanna address this and then have another one a month from now or 2 months from now on the same topic.
But it is on our agenda, so there needs to be a motion to table it.
Well, that's what I was asking, is it table or continue, what exactly is the proper?
Can we have a little bit of comment on it real quick?
Sure.
As I was reading through it, one of the flaws that I found with the ordinance, if I'm reading it correctly, is they were talking about, I think it's line 76. Dwelling shall not exceed a size greater than 4,800 square feet of living area or 12% of the parcel, whichever is greater.
I had the same problem.
So if the parcel is 2 acres, right, that means that the
Over
size can be
10,000 feet.
10,000 feet, and if it's 2-story. So I just think that's kind of a major flaw. And I'm wondering about the capacity of 2,000 gallons, what they came, like where that came from.
Well, what they did, what he did is he took the This information is word for word what we put in the residential zone and the rural residential zone for the size of homes. And so all he did is he took that language and put it over in the commercial
Of
zone.
course, that's those parcels that are 1 acre.
1 acre.
And
The
this
percentage of
parcel
1
doesn't
acre
have any
parcel.
size.
Well, we also allow, we put that same language in the residential, not just the rural residential,
You got rid of
1 acre. We put that same darn size in rural residential, which are smaller lot sizes, which is,
And I don't know if we said whichever is greater.
it absolutely says whichever is greater, which was Paul's, request in order to vote for the
But
ordinance,
April, I do see your point is that as
instead of whichever is less.
a parcel may be bigger and considerably bigger.
Non-commercial.
Yeah, it could create a structure that would be huge, and whether there be adequate water service and ability to, I guess it'd be an ability to sewer with septic. Of course, it's greater than that.
Okay.
Well, and I think it's, the 2-family dwellings is intended to make them more affordable. So if you have a 20,000 square foot home, which they have in other areas for 2-family dwellings, then it's not going to be affordable.
So anything else in here, or was it mainly just this issue about the size?
It was mainly about the size.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else?
No, I just had the same.
Okay, concerns. Okay, so ordinance,
So did you decide if it's tabling or continuing, or do we need a motion on all of this?
Deciding if the number even though we're doing.
no, no. There will be no number assigned. Okay, so I need a motion to table until, Darlene, approximately when are we gonna get the overlay? We now have to give notice to this, that's gonna take a while.
We are working on a map.
Yeah.
To help Crystal, as part of her notification, have a big map available for the public hearing, once it's properly noticed. And we're working with Mark on some tweaks to language based on some comments of Larry's during our meeting.
So my question was, how long we're,
So
they're tabled till.
December.
December is more reasonable because I mean, I've got public notice I have to get out by this Sunday, and I don't think wanna make a mistake, so, you know?
Okay.
But I think, we were working on the map today.
Okay.
And like.
And now we're working this in my people. And, hold on it.
Oh, yes.
One of us, or all of us may not be, a couple of us may not be.
You can,
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, all right, just on table. So, okay, so we need a motion.
So I'll make a motion to table item 6 until December regular meeting.
I'll second. All in favor?
Yes.
What?
Do I have to say anything else?
No, Keith wanted to say something.
well, no, Rod had asked, whether or not this should be, just tabled without date. But the reason being why we want to table it to a time specific is because we're dealing with an ordinance that has already had a public hearing on it. And we don't wanna have to review that one, and we're waiting for the others to catch up, and so for that reason, we're having to put it on and table it to the next meeting, or a set. When we know it's gonna be.
And that should probably take December 2000.
Yeah.
All right. All right, next is the public entity resolution. This is resolution R 2025K. And this is adding our town manager on as a user, able to do transactions with the town's PTIF accounts.
And this time, public comment.
Oh, yes, is there anyone in our audience that has a comment about this resolution before we vote on
That's PTIF.
it? Public treasurer's,
Treasurer's investment fund.
I know.
we have several accounts, several PTIF accounts that all earn, almost 5% interest, and so we move money over into them. So they sit there and collect interest while we're, all the impact fees, all our impact fees go into a PTIF account and, let's see, we've got several other little PTIF accounts we set up that you wanted money to taken out every month and put into accounts to help people pay for this or pay for that.
It's like short term, right?
And then we have, the PTIF account that we were required to set up.
Because the accounts are, the money and the accounts are all held
By
by
the state.
the state of Utah and invested on a statewide basis, they can get a return much higher than if we were to just simply put it in a bank account, like Science Bank or something like that. So we try to keep the vast majority of our funds that we hold long term especially, and even on somewhat of a short term basis in these PTIF accounts. We have to, it's fairly regulated, but it does give us the ability to move it much more quickly than like a certificate of deposit or something like that would be. But it is regulated and you have to have the proper signers have the ability to sign on those accounts to transfer money or do whatever, and we don't have our new city or town manager on
there.
And he would be a critical person to have on that, along with our.
Our CPA, Candace is on here too.
Pretty limited.
Yes, just Candace and Mark, and, I could swear that Tiffany told me the other day that Candace had put her on as a user, but I didn't add her here. Candace or Mark can add her if this knocks her off. Okay, so any more discussion on we probably have 8 or 9 different PTIF accounts, and one of which was the money for, the East Water tank. They required us to put some money into a PTIF account for one annual payment, I believe, we were required to fund. And so the money's sitting there, that's collecting interest, so we've got all kinds of stuff. All right, so
Just one comment on this resolution at the bottom, it says, I guess for the notary, it says county of cash.
Oh, yeah.
okay, I will, okay. I will change that to Washington. Okay, thank you for catching up. Okay. Okay, so, motion. I make a motion that we approve resolution R 2025-K, adding, our new town manager, Mark Myers, as a user on our, town's, accounts that we have with the public treasurer for the state of Utah, which are called PTIF accounts.
Second.
With the change.
With the change for the county, from cash, change the, county of cash to county of Washington.
Do we need to add the CPA to that,
She's on there.
Sure. Well, I didn't hear you say that.
Oh, no, I just said we're adding Mark Myers.
Okay.
Candace is already.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
So I will do a roll call vote. Misty,
Yes.
Paul, aye. April, aye. Valerie, and me, yes. Okay. All right. And that leaves the final topic, which is awarding the bid on the East Water tank. So we got the award, the recommendation, the engineer's recommendation for engineer was recommended that we award the contract to ACAD, but Paul, you told me today that you had an email, that you
I sent it,
question that.
I sent it to Dave, and I wasn't sure if he had any of the same concerns, or whether we needed to do anything addition.
I have a concern that the recommendation, does not recommend that ACAD utilize, a substitute,
Interstate road.
subcontractor, for the actual tank construction, the interstate road. They do obviously identify the increased amount in both their recommendation letter and the bid tab. But, they don't clearly say that, so I want to make sure that,
Actually, you know what, if you look at the second page where they've got this, the yellow highlights, it actually, that column, because the first column says ACAD, the second says ACAD with, and it has IRP, but that's interstate rock, has tank sub.
clear.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that's their recommendation.
Yeah, I worked with them, I reviewed their bid package and, the language of the, request for bids, and the proposed contract documents. I think it's very clearly that we can, and that they have requested an alternate subcontractor, and it was identified in a meeting that, that ACAD had produced, documentation, identifying a alternate, and that being interstate, but it does not say it here in the recommendation, so I would just ask that the motion to award the bid be conditional upon the contract documents being amended to state that Interstate Rock Products is the subcontractor for the tank construction.
Okay, so before we go further, Ron has a whole stack of stuff over here that he wanted, that looked like it was something you wanted to talk to us about.
I just wanted to be prepared for that.
Oh, okay. The Sunrise Paint Bar work week.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, okay.
On this, I looked at the provision in our procurement code, and it looks like because it's over 100,000, we have to follow the state procurement code, which means we have to go to the lowest bidder. And ACAD is still the lowest bidder, but he's using two different stubs. So my question was, is there any cause of action that sub has if we go with interstate? Or do we have to find that sub not responsible in the sense, what I heard last time, he wasn't, because he didn't have the experience for large water tanks.
Recent
experience. So do we need to at least?
But our contract documents identify the ability for them to, upon request, provide an alternate.
Okay.
And, they have provided that, and that as such, at least our engineering firm who we have engaged on this project have identified them as the lowest response.
Okay, good.
So my recommendation, as long as you put that as a very clear condition of awarded contract, that the contract documents be amended to identify Interstate Rock as the subcontractor, that we are awarding to the lowest response.
Great, thank you.
So I'll let you make the motion. Ron, I have a question for you. Can you explain on their unit price bid schedule, they have item number 6 and item number 7, which appears to be the exact same item with different prices. per unit.
Different
Yeah,
quantities.
there are two different ordinances that we have.
Okay,
Yeah.
so is one just more difficult or something? But it's-
Well, yeah, the thought was because of the claims, that it might cost a different amount.
That was less.
Yes.
It was 60.
Yeah, so we just decided to go with two separate items.
Okay.
for those.
I was just curious, I wasn't understanding.
Well, you made me feel like I got to say something.
Thank you, April.
Worth it.
Yeah, I thought it was also interesting, that tabulation. You know, I thought it was helpful, but at the same time, the unit prices are all over the place. Really, why?
No, like the number one, I mean, why is a CAD with, interstate as tank sub, the first line item is almost double, like very close.
Mobilization.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Yeah, I just thought that was interesting overall.
Yeah.
Who knows, right?
I have an idea, but I'm not gonna say mine. Yeah. You're right.
I move that we award, the bid for the East Water Tank project, to the recommended ACAD Advanced Construction and Design LLC, with Interstate Rock as a
He said
sub. Yeah, I'm getting there.
Okay.
And the contract amount of $1,649,000 and $1,649,680. On the condition that we amend the contract documents to, indicate that Interstate.
Expressly state that Interstate Rock. I don't want to.
Expressly state that Interstate Rock is the subcontractor
For the tank.
for the tank.
Okay, I'll second that.
Okay. All right, April?
Yes.
Okay, Paul?
Aye.
Jean? Yes. Reluctantly, yes. Misty?
Yes.
Valerie? Yes. All right, by the way, we were talking with Troy in the meeting, we were talking to Troy about, the loan documents. Because he wanted to talk to Allison Spivak about redoing the loan documents, since the bid is so much lower than the amount of the loan and stuff. And I was explaining to everyone that, even with this here, this is less than just the loan. And if we were required to spend all of the loan money before we ever got to the grant money, we would never get to the grant money. And then, Troy said that he, I see somebody with their water bottle. Troy said that, sometimes the Division of Water Quality will have you can do percentages. This percent comes from the loan and this percent comes from the grant. And if that was the case, we wouldn't have to redo anything. We would just have the percentages. This percent is the loan, this percent is paid by the, grant. And so we haven't got the actual loan documents yet. All I had was I went through the file and was reading the pre-authorization letter. And it doesn't say anything at all in there about how it's gonna break down. I assume that comes in the actual loan documents.
Okay, but if we get grant award letter. And that's probably where that type of language that says
we give you this grant for this amount, except in a situation where the actual cost comes below. Then you could say that there's a proportion. Some sort of proportion of it, that's usually going to be grant.
Okay, what we have is a federal SRF loan authorization and procedures for committal funds at that level. And that's where they talk about the grant. But I don't see any actual grant award letter.
Well,
Just so you know.
That type of.
Okay.
But maybe it's part of.
All right.
But we should check to make sure that the water level is consistent with what we want to do.
Okay, I was just afraid that if we go back to them and we start this all over, is this really gonna set us back?
As far as the loan,
Yeah.
no.
Okay.
I personally spoke to that, Allison, because I was deeply worried about whether we, and in fact, I brought this issue up. So my can works. But, what the document said initially is the grant money will come off at the end.
Yeah, right.
And so, as short as we are, we would never actually benefit from the grant money. And quite frankly, I worked so hard to get it in this day.
Yeah, well, that's what we were talking about. that
And
was
so
never-
as a result of that, she gave me two options. In terms of how we prepare the closing documents, that is actually the next step now, after we've done this award. We can keep the amounts the same as they are and spend all the money. As long as we submit projects beyond the tank project that are consistent with the need for the tank. I.e., we can do some
Water lines.
work,
Water lines that we need.
which is sorely needed.
Yes.
With that, to enhance our backbone, I call it the State Street section our backbone, and there's sections of it where we have 6-inch lines, coupled with 8-inch lines, and we're moving the entire water system from west to east.
Okay, so basically you're suggesting that we keep the loan documents the way, keep the financing the way it is?
Well, my intent was to open this up to you folks as the legislative body and allow you to consider the two options. Leaving it the same with the idea that we would get approval for some additional project and spend all of that. Or she did give me the other alternative, which is to put the entire amount on a percentage basis.
Okay.
So if we only use 70% of the total allocation, we would still be able to tie into 70% of the grant. So both of those options are wonderful.
Okay.
So how much is the loan for?
It was it's 2.4. Yeah. Last week we asked
The
that.
loan is 2.4, the grant
It was
is.
just a hair under $1 million.
Yeah, it was 900 and something, the total was 3.1 something.
I think option 2 sounds better.
The percentages, just doing the percentage and not doing extra projects around town?
Well, so you have to spend another $600,000 in loan money to do the projects, and then you would get to the grant, which would be additional money, is that correct? So if the loan is for 2.4,
Yes.
and the tank is 1.6, then you have $800,000 left of a loan that you have to do projects with, and then you move on to the grant. Do we have $800,000 plus that much grant money in town that we could even possibly
I would say yes, but
Yeah.
the water lines
Our
alone
lines
are gonna be like $1 million.
Well, I just,
Heartland's break right and left, there's.
yeah, I just estimated this, if we took the town and just said, none of our pipelines in State Street, the backbone, are going to hold up longer than 15 years or whatever, and we redid the whole thing with a 14-inch line, it's $1.2 million.
Just for that.
Just for the pipe.
And that's on our capital improvement.
Yes, it is.
That part of it is.
Yeah. And then we need to redo the line going up Bill Street,
Yeah,
The other thing is,
possibly
if we were to have,
West.
well, she's not agreeing to rewrite the loan to reduce it. My concern would have been, what happens if there's cost overruns in
Exactly.
in the Tennefield project?
right.
And we've lowered it, and now we have to come up with the overage.
Yes.
Town's general fund, or something like that could be.
Yeah, we do have a reasonable contingency on this project.
Yeah,
I know,
But his point is valid.
Yes, and that worried me about reducing it down to this, because like, they're gonna go over, but we've got the projects in
But if
town,
we-
we've got
but
water
if we have
projects down that use all this money.
projects and it goes over, then we can just scrap some of these extra projects.
Right.
Pay for the tank overage and get that done and use whatever's left over on these residual projects.
And then you can move into grant money for other projects.
Yeah, we'll be moving into
We'll
grant
be
money
using,
as we
we'll be
go
using
along.
grant money.
Cause I think what I'm gonna ask her to do is combine both of those offers into a single package that allows us to add projects to it, but still allows us to spend, grant money on a percentage basis of the total contract.
If she do that, that would be to take a hybrid of both.
Yes.
Her two options.
And I think,
And this loan is at 0% interest.
yeah,
Oh,
Because then we
0% interest, 40 years.
we got a really good package, I just did not wanna leave grant money on the table.
Yeah.
That's the bottom,
Yeah, we didn't get to that, that's.
yeah.
But we've got-
But also taking on what I would call unnecessary debt, because it is going for legitimate projects on our capital facilities plan, but to spend money, to get money is not necessarily always the smartest thing, because of the debt service involved. Well, I should say debt service, 0%, it's just,
But at the same time, it's,
Still bad.
it's not just spending money to get money. These are projects that are gonna kick our butt in 15 years.
Oh, yeah, for
And
sure.
we have no idea what the state of everything's gonna be in 15 years. I mean, it's changed
in that sense,
dramatically.
I totally agree with you.
So it's kind of I get where you're coming from. It's a touchy thing. But at the same time, we know those things are gonna come back to get us later. And so, and at that time, we might not have as big a revenue as we've got now, we might have, they're already on our capital improvements coming. Why not advance them forward?
Let me say this another way. This, as the town engineer, this occurs to me as a really wonderful opportunity to get some additional work done that we actually don't have any funding for otherwise.
Correct.
The impact fee amounts are sufficient to maybe lay the pipe up, cemetery road or such like project. So we've actually been scrambling to figure out what to do with the impact fee money because there's so little out there.
Correct.
So this almost feels like
A gift?
and again, we're working with the state, everything is transparent. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to be able to accomplish here, but my initial conversations with Allison have been very positive about putting some flexibility into the expense side of this thing. They're delighted that it came in under, I'm embarrassed.
But it's all working out.
Yes, it is, it's all working out.
All right, so option one?
Do we have to make that decision right now?
No, but you're gonna check on the hybrid part, right?
Yeah,
He's gonna ask if she'll,
The hybrid's wonderful.
do a hybrid of both of her options that she conveyed verbally.
Okay.
If she would put it in writing, and it would be a hybrid of both.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so two things, just to clarify, the next things that we're gonna do on the East Bank is put together the agreement. And that's where I'm going to put the language that you just required, where we're saying very explicitly that Interstate Rock is the contractor for the tank portion of the project. And we'll actually delineate, in detail what that part is versus the rest of the project. That will be done in the agreement, and we'll just make that a requirement of signature. So I still have a fairly strong negotiating tool, if you will, because I can still get to the point where we have the agreement that we have published as part of this contract document. And if they don't agree with any of the elements of that, we still have the right to walk away. We won't, that's not our intent. But we do reserve that right until we have complete agreement and we're comfortable with the agreement for the project.
Okay, so Jean, you hesitated a little bit. You wanna say why or?
Because
No, I will say after the meeting's over, and it's not being recorded.
Okay.
Get the hybrid.
Stand.
So. Motion to adjourn,
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second it, all in favor? Yes. Okay.